Per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. It's Teaching Tech Tuesday. Let's talk a little bit about behavioral psychology, personality, and how that can affect your investing decisions, your trading decisions, your mentality around what it is in the heck that you're actually doing when you're trying to figure out what to buy and sell. What you'll find is the best investors, the better investors, the traders who do very well over time, they know where they are weak in a certain area. Are they weak at execution? Are they weak at analysis? Do they not pay attention to their stop losses? Do they trade too emotionally? That's why journaling is so important. That's why writing down what you're thinking as you're doing it and going back and reading it later and saying, you know, that was wrong, that was right. Knowing thyself is key, whether or not it was Socrates, Aristotle, or Plato who said this. This is half the battle. Because if you can figure out what you're good at and what you're bad at and improve upon things that you don't do so well, ideally, you slowly become a better trader over time. So I'm going to talk about two types of personality tests, I guess you could call them, in this video, and a few others towards the end. But the big one is obviously Myers-Briggs, MBTI, kind of pseudoscience, kind of astrological nonsense, but at the very least, it's revealing to yourself, if you've never heard of this, what type of person you generally are, what type of person you generally fall under. Around the time when this became popular, there were lots of personality tests, but I think this was the one that didn't like put people down for their personality traits, whereas maybe some of the other tests at the time weren't as kind to people when describing their personality. You can take these tests online. They're usually like 50 to 100 questions. It takes you probably 10 minutes. Most of the stuff, if you sit and think about it, yourself in social situations, yourself in regards to relationships, that sort of thing. But if you sit down and think about it for a second, it should become fairly obvious what type of person you are. Most of us generally fit into different personality types. I find myself very uncomfortable in certain personality types, whereas I'm more comfortable in others, but I have somewhat of an ability to be a little bit of a chameleon in that regard. But in any event, I am an INTJ for the most part. So take the test, figure out what you are. If you already know what you are, you can look and see how does that affect your decision-making process? How does that affect your trading and investing process? What can you do to improve upon yourself, what you already have in front of you? Because certain personality types and traits will be very advantageous for a specific type of trading. Some people I know dislike the type of trading that I enjoy. I'm very analytical. I like very specific proof and backtesting. All I care about is the P&L. I don't care about the flashy stuff. As many of you know, because you've probably watched this channel for a minute, I'm described as calm, cool, collected, boring, monotone, and that generally feeds into investing strategy. Like it says, innovative, independent, strategic, logical, reserved, insightful, driven by their own ideas to achieve improvements. So you are what you are, but the goal here is to find how you can improve, right? This is another different type of personality test. I just thought it was funny that specifically the trading newsletter is a trader and seeks external validation. I just thought that was so hilarious because, man, that's true. But anyway, there are many types of personality tests. But again, what do you really care about? I'm not a value investor. I know value investors look at the world a certain way. I'm not a fundamental investor. I prefer technicals. I prefer trading signals, backtesting. I don't want dividends. I don't want stock tips from friends. I'd rather do that myself. So it's always interesting to see, like, okay, how do people operate depending on their own personal preferences? I'd imagine a lot of people watching this channel are similar to myself because like attracts like, and typically people who aren't like me wouldn't be able to tolerate listening to me at all. There are, of course, articles about specifically Myers-Briggs and investing style. We just highlight my own investing style. And an example, it says here, you can't beat the market. It's not worth your time. Consider passive investing. Beware of analysis paralysis. I don't personally have that problem anymore, but early on, absolutely. When you don't know which tools to pull out of your toolkit, when your analysis isn't honed and sharp, and you're looking at all sorts of indicators, all sorts of social signals, all sorts of tips and tricks from everybody, the analysis paralysis stuff can definitely get in the way. like it says here. To me, analyzing is like breathing. It's not an issue, but to different types of people that this would be an issue. So for me, the execution part of it is my leak. My key thing is, okay, you did the great analysis part. You got to pull the trigger, right? And we can read different types of people. Maybe they get pulled in by outside influences more. Maybe they see things that are newer as more appealing. And you can see in certain types of investing styles, like venture capital, you need to have a specific understanding of where you think the puck is going. Where do you think the future is going to be? Are you a meme coin investor? Are you a macro investor? And I think you can see that in these personality styles where the bears, the perma bears, gravitate toward each other and they find a way to stay inside their echo chamber. It's funny they mentioned Bitcoin specifically here. People who are looking for excitement, looking for volatility. So I asked ChatGPT, because I always do for these type of videos, what's the best Myers-Briggs type for investing? Of course, it was a trick question, but I'm certainly ISTJ, INTJ type, where I prefer disciplined decisions, analyzing complex systems, that sort of thing. I'm not the type of person that are searching out new ideas and emerging trends. I see that as like the meme coin people or the NFT people and the outside the box thinker. That's definitely not me. And that would probably be more of a venture capital lean than a trader. Before we go any further and talk about attachment styles, let me mention today's video sponsor, Kraken Pro. Kraken Pro is a complete overhaul of the Kraken trading experience with a one-stop shop for advanced and professional traders. Kraken Pro enables efficient trading execution across multiple markets with a UI that allows for unique optimization tailored to your trading style. You can check out Kraken Pro with a link in the description of this video. Non-investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss. Cryptocurrency services are provided to U.S. and U.S. territory customers by Payward Ventures, Inc., PBI, DBA, Kraken. We talked about Tau briefly yesterday in the Kraken Pro segment, so I thought I'd revisit that today. And obviously, as an example of my own personality, I'm always looking at indicators. I'm not guessing. I'm always looking at, okay, what does the fib say? What does the cloud say? What does the trend say? What does the chart pattern suggest? But on the Tau chart specifically, we are teasing slowdown here outside of the parabolic run. The new trailing stop loss is at 520, excuse me. And the measured move of the previous double bottom range is exactly where we're at. So I think if I was trading this, I'd probably be rotating around to some other things with a bit of a surprise today of 15%. A surprise in that sometimes you just never know why exactly certain things move. Across the board, generally, there's a lot of this double bottomy, triple bottomy, bottomy type stuff going on after previously the market had a lobotomy and fell significantly. So not quite bullish yet for a lot of this stuff, but the altcoin video this week, tomorrow, is going to be more exciting than usual. So something else that might come up alongside personality types would be attachment styles. And depending on how you were raised, the type of environment you were exposed to when you were younger, that may lead to a specific type of attachment style. And some of you, of course, will be nodding your head. Others of you will be clicking the X in the browser. But this can lead to different decision-making types when it comes to trading and investing, and a focus on a specific type of investing or style of investing based on just who you are. So I took a test for myself. I'm in the secure section. I don't think there's necessarily a bad or good attachment style. It's just identifying, again, what are you as an individual, and then figuring out what the strengths and weaknesses of that may be and working around that. Some people may get very, very literally attached to a specific altcoin, become a community member. Do you want to make money, or are you here to be a part of something? Are you here to be a part of a community? Are you fearful when you're trading? Do you close winners too early, hold losers too long? You know, all this stuff sounds completely removed from trading, but in reality, it does play a role. It does play a part. We are people, after all. So you can take a test. I took one on NPR. It doesn't really matter. There's, I'm sure, a ton of these all over the place. But a lot of this has to do with how you treat and are treated in relationships as well. And the secure style, spending, saving, investing, comes pretty easily. Avoidant generally avoids financial discussions, neglect in managing their finances. Again, if you're probably watching these videos, you're pretty hip with it as far as investing is my guess, but maybe not. anxious. Maybe you're not risk-taking enough. Maybe you're overly concerned with financial security. I don't know why. For me, I should be. I feel like in that bucket. I was raised very much in the middle class, came from nothing, but accumulating wealth, not necessarily my preoccupation. And then disorganized, probably not where you want to be as a trader or investor, chaotic, inconsistent, all over the place. And although there's no clear loser here, this is certainly the weaker of the 4 attachment styles. And of course, you can read about, again, what is the strength, what is the weakness, depending on your attachment style. And most of you, as you learn about this, will, I'm sure, identify with each of these attachment styles in some way. And then the next step is, okay, how can I improve on that? How does this make me a good or bad trader, investor? Am I a YOLO mentality spender? Do I overspend? Do I overtrade? Am I risk averse? Am I too risk averse? Am I just, okay, I just buy all the altcoins and the meme coins, right? Try to identify the best you can what it is you're doing and the benefits and weaknesses of that. There's also these other personality tests. And I found this specific paper to be interesting, talking about 2 personality traits, neuroticism and openness, stand out in their explanatory power for equity investments. Investors with high neuroticism and low openness tend to allocate less investment into equities. My interpretation of this is macro people. This is like prepper people. This is doomsday people. That's my interpretation. Gold, maybe Bitcoin a little bit as well. Also interesting to consider your cultural background and how that affects your personality, whether you were raised in Asia or in North America or in Europe. That's certainly going to change things for you. But there are a lot of these personality tests if you don't like Myers-Briggs or you don't like the money attachment stuff. But do yourself a favor, do a little homework, do a little digging, take a few surveys. And if you're wondering, I don't know how this person does what they do, potentially it's because your strength is not that person's strength. Your strength is something else. But to understand that, to know thyself, is the beginning of wisdom. I'll leave you with a podcast on Myers-Briggs and investing. But a lot of us are just comfortable doing what we are. We're comfortable being the analyzer. If you're an analyzer, you're comfortable YOLOing or gambling more than you are trading. You're comfortable staking ETH, right? depending on what type of investor personality you fit under. That's all I have for this one today. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.